Hey guys, it's Cyrus of Chaos. Today I want to talk to you about transparency in sports. So I was watching basketball in the Paris Olympics with my dad and was very intrigued by the challenge system there. Whenever someone challenged a call in Olympic basketball this year, you'd actually get to see in real time what the referees were watching to make a decision, and you could listen to the actual discussion the referees were having about the action. I'm going to play a clip of that for you right now.
See it one more time. Which one do you want to see? Okay. Go back a little bit. This one. Spaces.
It's a foul, but it's normal.
Normal movement. Normal action. Block. Then he hit the ball. So only the personal foul.
I confirm.
Head coach challenge not to settle. We go 2 shots for goal 11.
This is in stark contrast to fencing, where these conversations are kept private and the logic of decisions is never explained, even when a call seems completely incomprehensible. I'm going to play a clip for you now from Cadet World Championships this year that has become infamous since it happened in April. Yes, definitely. It's Logvin, I still can't see. How is this not attack and crowd? This is a pretty easy one. Why are you so weak? I don't know. You can hear myself and the people sitting around me talking about how this is not a difficult call to make, and we're all surprised that the decision is taking so long. After the call is made, you can hear the completely shocked reactions of the people sitting around me, and other than the official call, which was attack stops, attack from right touch, no additional explanation is ever provided. Now, I want to play you a clip from the movie Gran Turismo. This is a fictitious movie based around a true story and is a really good watch that I would highly recommend. This clip and the explanation that precedes it contain minor spoilers about the movie, but nothing you wouldn't already know from watching the trailer. Nevertheless, this is your spoiler warning, so if you do want to switch away, now's the time to do it. And now that that's out of the way, to set up this clip. The winner of the race in the clip I'm about to show you would be the face of an avant-garde program for the Nissan company, and the marketing official played here by Orlando Bloom knows that his job is dependent on the outcome of said program. He feels that one specific racer has a much better face from a marketing perspective, and that racer's name is Matty Davis. His opponent is Jan Mardenborough. Let's watch the clip.
Matty took it.
No, wait. No, hang on.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it, but zoom in there. No. Mardenborough won. Announce it.
Hold on.
Is this really what we want? Just look at this from a high-level marketing perspective, okay? Does Yang give us the best shot?
I don't know what that means. He won.
By 1,000th of a second.
Yeah, that's the difference between winning and losing. Jan won.
Matty's 1,000,000th of a second behind. I mean, who cares? He is ultimately our best pick when you take him out into the world.
Copy that. The winner is You are the winner.
It is very clear here from the freeze frame that the close car, which is driven by Jan Mardenborough, won the race. But the marketing official essentially says, wouldn't it be better for the company if the more marketable candidate won? Transparency.com defines corruption as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain, and in this case, these officials have power over the future of the kids involved in this race. But instead, Orlando's Bloom character's advocating making a decision not based on what actually happened in the race, but rather in a way that would act in his own self-interest. Sounds like corruption to me. I've been told now by several private sources that many European fencing federations are funded by the sports ministry, and that more medals means more funding for the program. Here's a screenshot of a redacted conversation I had with someone explaining this concept rather well. An important detail these guys miss is that a lot of European sports federations get funded by respective countries' sports ministries based on results, and because budgets are totally opaque, cash can flow anywhere, including in the pocket of a foreign ref. From a national system perspective, it makes sense to give, say, anonymous referee 10,000 euros for a given tournament. If your athlete makes it to the medal rounds, then your federation receives 200,000 more in budget next year, for example. It's obviously wrong, but the system works that way for all sports, so it's fencing that needs to change its referee reliance, which is a really good point. To understand another way this kind of incentive system affects fair play in sports, let's take a look at this post from the Puberty Instagram page that was being shared around a lot during the Olympics. It shows the various amounts of money each competitor stands to receive from their country should they receive a medal at the Olympics. I'm going to read gold medal winners specifically here. In France, you would receive the equivalent of $71,200 should you win a gold medal. In Singapore, that number is $737,000. In Spain, it's $102.9 thousand. In the US, it's $37.5 thousand. In Italy, it's $197.1 thousand. In Germany, it's $21.9 thousand. In Taiwan, it's $716,000. In Norway, it's nothing. In Morocco, it's $220,000. In Kazakhstan, it's a 3-room apartment. So, picking from the highest monetary reward for a medal on that list, which would be Singapore at $737,000 US. Assuming we wanted to flip the outcome of a few matches to help a Singaporean win the Olympics, what would be a reasonable number to put in for that to happen? Probably not that much money, considering how much that person potentially stands to gain. And that's not even including how much the program might get back from having a medal like that. Now, with a country like the US, for which a gold medalist would only stand to receive $37.5 thousand, it's a little harder to understand why this kind of thing might happen. But there's a lot of monetary value that exists in simply being an Olympian as far as sponsorship deals go that are not covered by just these medal values on the Puberty post. I also know for a fact that for many of these countries, this policy extends to World Championships, European Championships, and in some cases, like we touched on from the screenshot before, even just results at regular World Cups. One of my Russian friends, back when I was competing on the circuit, told me that when he competes and wins a World Cup, the Russian Ministry of Sports buys him a new car. He also told me that if he won European Championships that year, he would be asking them for a Lambo. And he did win European Championships that year, so you can only imagine what happened. Now here is an excerpt from a recent interview I did with world-renowned international saber referee Ariana Klinkov.
What is your opinion of the current stuff that's going on both in the US and internationally, just the flood of like corruption allegations coming out? Is that surprising or?
So I think it's only surprising because it hit us here. You know what I mean? Like, I think for anybody who's refereed internationally, nobody is surprised. Internationally, it was always like, oh, well, that person, you know, might be able to be influenced to make a call. Or if these FIE officials are here, that person is definitely going to get more calls. I had an incident at the Pan American Games Championships where I was refereeing a match to make, I think, you know, the top 16 between a Canadian and a Mexican. And I had been told that the Mexican, you know, representative or official there was pretty heavily tied to Russia. And I went to go make a call, and it was, you know, at 14:14, I was going back to the video to check. And I thought it was the Canadians or maybe simultaneous. It was one of those tight calls that, you know, there's some variance. So I looked at the video referee and I said, given this bout and given the trends in this bout, I'm going to go with simultaneous. And one of the Russian officials walked up and said, you cannot call simultaneous. You have to give that call to the Mexican. Well, I looked at him and I said, so I can't call simultaneous. And he goes, that's correct. Give it to the Mexican. So I turned around and gave it to the Canadian.
Oh my God.
Like, because couldn't have been the Mexican. Like, it wasn't. Like, it was absolutely the Canadian athlete. And, you know, I didn't see fencing again for quite some time. You know, and it was 2 more years before I ended up refereeing the World Championship. You know, there's no question in my mind that I didn't see international refereeing for a while after that, because I had directly disobeyed an order to call for who was supposed to win. You know, so if you want to talk about, do I have evidence that other people do it? No. Have I seen referees suddenly disappear because we watched them not make a call we thought should have happened? Absolutely. Did I get told to cheat? Absolutely. You know, so in my mind, it's happening over there.
She says here that it is commonly understood that cheating happens internationally and that she herself has been asked to cheat. She also suspects that after she refused to cheat, she was sidelined from refereeing for several years. As I have mentioned several times before in interviews and online, I was told this at my first World Cup after losing a close match with a recent junior world champion in the top 64. After being very disappointed with the calls and feeling like I could have won that bout, I was repeatedly reassured by the other Americans that were present that I was right, those calls were bad, that these things are common at World Cups and you just have to accept that and figure out how to deal with them and win anyway. This is Vitaly Logvin. He is a Soviet foil world champion who has been arrested for bribery previously and works for Alisher Usmanov, who is an Uzbek-born Russian billionaire with close ties to Vladimir Putin, who was, until the war with Ukraine and Russia started, the president of the FIE. Logvin currently holds a Salvadorian citizenship. Igor Sushko says, what the hell is this Russian mafioso Vitaly Logvin, previously arrested for bribery and who works for sanctioned Russian mafioso billionaire Alisher Usmanov, doing on the International Fencing Executive Committee, hiding behind the flag of Mexico?
And I had been told that the Mexican, you know, representative or official there was pretty heavily tied to Russia.
He has an excerpt here that says, Vitaly Logvin, a former fencing champion, often escorts Russian diplomats and commercial delegates across the region, usually as an interpreter. As a member of the governing bodies of multiple regional sports organizations, including fencing, martial arts, and Zumba, he has been able to travel across the region extensively without attracting any attention. Reportedly, because of his willingness to engage in illicit activities with former Salvadorian Minister of Defense David Munguia Paez, who was also a fencer, Logvin was granted Salvadorian nationality and a passport, so he no longer needs to travel on a Russian passport, which might draw more scrutiny. David Munguia Paez, incidentally, was arrested in 2020 for his involvement with Salvadorian gang activity.
In 2012, the FBI was able to flip a corrupt FIFA official named Chuck Blazer. The FBI would then have Blazer lure other officials he deemed to be corrupt into bugged meetings so that those conversations could be recorded. One of those individuals was president for a charity called For the Future of Fencing, an organization created by Alisher Usmanov. That individual was none other than Vitaly Logvin.
As Alisher Usmanov's enforcer, he's been accused of pressuring and bribing certain federations into voting a certain way at FIE sessions.
In this article, titled Exclusive, USA Fencing Official Alleges Vote Buying in FIE to Reinstate Russia and Belarus, Sam Cheris makes the following statement. If this was merely a philosophical issue, why has a representative of the Foundation for the Future of Russian Fencing been going around the world giving out money allegedly to administrators to be able to attend competitions and meetings, but with the quid pro quo of, here's the speech I want you to give at the Congress, here's the vote I want you to take, and here's the money I have provided? Essentially, Cheris is saying someone from Usmanov's charity group is traveling to different countries to present federations with money on the grounds that they will vote a certain way at the FIE Congress to reinstate Russian and Belarusian athletes. Because of the context not just of this article, but of the many tweets and excerpts of articles that I've read so far in this video, we can assume that this individual that Sam Cheris is referring to is Vitaly Logvin. Other articles I've read have stated that Logvin is an ex-KGB agent who is also involved in the transport of a white powder from Colombia into the U.S. Rumor has it that Vitaly Logvin has his eyes on the FIE presidency, and FIE elections begin in September. If even a single allegation in any of these articles and tweets I've read out so far is true, and if transparency is something we really care about in our sport, I'm fairly certain Vitaly Logvin is not someone we want involved in our sport at all, much less to be the person running the entire sport of fencing on a global scale.
Now, let's revisit that clip I played earlier from Cadet World Championships. When Valiev goes back to video, I try to zoom in to get a good shot of the action happening in slow motion, but when I do, I actually have to change my angle that I'm filming at because Vitaly Logvin's head is blocking my view of the action. Yes, that Vitaly Logvin. The Uzbek enforcer who's been arrested for bribery and accused of vote buying was standing very close to a private conversation happening about an important call that would affect an Uzbek athlete's success at this tournament. Who knows what was said during that conversation with Mr. Logvin clearly within earshot, but far enough away that my camera couldn't pick it up. I certainly don't, but I also see no reason why these conversations shouldn't happen on microphone so that everyone can hear them, like what Olympic basketball has decided to do. The last item I want to discuss today on the topic of transparency is the change logs from tournaments. When the pools or tableau of a tournament are created, referees are assigned to each pool or elimination bout randomly by the computer. The computer will take into account country conflicts, club conflicts, and even regional conflicts, and this is all up to the tournament organizer to determine in the settings. This process isn't always perfect, and changes can be made to fix mistakes or other reasons that the computer wouldn't be able to account for, such as conflicts of interest. For example, one time I was refereeing at a NAC, and the computer randomly determined that I would be refereeing my former teammate Jeff Spear in the top 16, even though we both had the same club listed on our official USFA profiles. I told the tournament organizers and they switched me to another bout, no problem. Another situation that I had personally was last year I was coaching a non-American fencer at an EFC event and an American ref walked over with the slip, asked me if I was the coach, and when I told him that I was, he returned to bout committee to tell them that he would not be able to referee that bout because as an American ref, he's not allowed to referee a fencer with an American coach. No problem. According to Rule T50.3, in any case where the computer draw is modified, it must be with the agreement of the directoire technique and signed by both the refereeing delegate and the president of the DT. In other words, if a change is made, it has to be logged and approved. Let's take a look at the only change log I've ever seen, courtesy of Ponce de Leon Fencing's second video. This video came out the same weekend as the Grand Prix in Washington, D.C., and according to what I heard from 3 different people, the members of the DT were absolutely panicking that this change log from a tournament in 2018 became public. Frantic questions were being asked to the people on the computers if this information could be publicly obtained because if it could be, that would be a big problem. I can't think of a single reason why having these changes being a matter of public opinion would be such a big problem. Well, I mean, I can obviously think of several reasons, but none of them are good reasons and none of them have anything to do with transparency. But if there is truly nothing to hide and there's nothing weird going on, then these logs should be made public, right? And if anyone has a change log from any World Cup either this year or last year, especially during the Olympic qualification period, I would please request that you send it to me because I would really like to take a look at it, and I think everybody deserves to as well. What do you guys think of these issues? Should referee conversations be audible for the audience? Should referees be required to give more than a cursory explanation for their calls when asked? Should FIE officials, who have no official standing in a bout, be hovering around the referees when they're making a decision? Should these change logs be uploaded publicly with the live results so that everyone can see? Please let me know what you think of these things in the comments. Thanks, guys.
And last but not least, I'd like to thank my Emerald and Platinum patrons, David Amrani, Jonah Atkinson, Tiffany Miller, Roman Bruce, and Veronica Saran for their very generous contributions to this channel. Any other names you see are gold patrons. Thank you guys so much for the contributions. They really help out a lot and will enable me to make more videos like this. If you have any more ideas for what you want to see next, you can vote on those things on my Patreon page. To help support the channel, you can find links to my Patreon, PayPal, and Venmo accounts in the video information. Thanks, guys. See you next time.